Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this mini lesson, Matt's going to be teaching you a duet that I wrote for bass and ukulele. Now what's cool about this tune is that it helps you in two areas. The first is that it gives you practice playing in an ensemble setting, in this case a duet with another instrument, but it also is going to help you with syncopation. You see, every single measure of this tune begins on the end of one. That's what you'll be playing as the ukulele player. So the very first note you play always starts on the end of one for every single measure, except for the last measure of the tune. Now, if you do not know what syncopation is, I want you to check out this lesson. I'll also link it in the description box below. It's going to explain it to a T, and it's going to teach you a really fun and cool sounding tune that helps you work on it. Now, let's take a step back. Let's talk a little bit about this lesson. So in this video, Matt's going to be teaching you how to play the entire piece, but if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link right here. Or you can go to the site, rockclass101.com, do a search for ML30, that is the lesson number for this lesson. And also on that page will be the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a great feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tabs scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish, just a great asset in learning this song that much easier. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Matt to teach you how to play this. Don't forget to grab the Baritone Ukulele, and I'll catch you at the end of the video.
Hello, let's go ahead and dive into mini lesson 30 featuring baritone and bass. This is going to be a ton of fun to play because it's more of a riff exercise on the ukulele than anything else, providing an opportunity to develop some cool licks with your baritone ukulele. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to bring the camera down. So to start here, we're going to learn our riff that we're going to play several times throughout this piece. We're going to begin by thinking about what we're playing with our playing hand. I'm going to be using my thumb on my D and my G strings, my index here on my B string, and my middle finger here on the E string, right? So that has the thumb covering the third and fourth strings, the index on the second string, and the middle here on the first string. Now we're going to start by playing the second fret of that third string using our index finger here. So our thumb plays, index finger frets it. Go ahead and pluck that. And that's going to be taking place on the and of one. So there's a moment of pause to start this before we pluck that note. Then we're going to play 4 on the third string using our ring finger here. We're going to pluck that note. And then we're going to do a slide from that 4 to the 6th fret of that third string. It's really important as you do that slide that you maintain and even increase the pressure a little bit to make sure that you get a good tone and slide it right into that fret wire right there on fret 6 because that helps you get a really good tone. You also want to make sure the slide doesn't happen immediately, for they are 8th notes, so it has this 1 and 2 and sound. After you've done that, you're then going to play the 5th fret on the 2nd string with our middle finger right here. See how it just kind of stacks in underneath? And this time we're going to use our index finger on our playing hand to strike that. And that is the first measure, which sounds something like this in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now as we go on to the second measure here, we're going to start with the exact same riff that we just played, but then it has a continuation, and that continuation is after we played the 5th fret here on the 2nd string, we should still have our ring finger here on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. We're going to pluck that 6th fret of the 3rd string again, and then we're going to do a slide back down to 4 with that ring finger, and we need our index finger to preset here on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, because then to finish the measure, we're going to use a pull off with our ring finger to get that 2nd fret of the 3rd string to sound. This is quite challenging. It looks and sounds something like this. And the reason it's so challenging is because we're only striking the 6 once and doing a slide and a pull off, creating all the sound just with our fretting hand. The slide we've already talked about, doing a down slide is just like a up slide. We just want to make sure that we're increasing the pressure a little bit with the finger to help maintain the energy of the string resonance. But then when we do the pull off, we need this index finger to be on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and we need to kind of mute the second and first strings just a little bit, because when this ring finger does its pull off, it's normal for it to hit the second string a little bit. And if we are like this, you might get this sound. See how I'm hitting multiple strings? So that's why I lay it flat, making sure I fret the third string, but kind of just lightly mute the first and second string to get that sound. If that is too challenging for you when you're first learning this, and it's the reason you can't play the tune, it is totally fine to just pluck that second fret again after the slide. The pull off is not needed to play the tune, but it's a nice embellishment to add some texture to it. So altogether, measure 2 in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And the two measures together, 1 and 2, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Pretty nice, right? From here, we go on to measures 3 and 4. And good news, measures 3 and 4 are exactly the same as what we played on measures 1 and 2. When I mentioned at the beginning of the lesson, this develops some licks and riffs. This is a riff that's repeated many times throughout this mini lesson. So measures 3 and 4, exactly the same as 1 and 2, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, as we go on to the 5th and 6th measures, it does change a little bit here. We're going to start by playing this sort of D chord, but the way we do this is, well, we leave our index finger here on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and we're going to add the ring finger here to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. We're going to pluck the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, then play the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, then play the open on the 1st string. And that's going to use your middle finger here to pluck that. As I mentioned at the start, kind of keeping that 3-finger picking style. And so after I've plucked that, I'm then going to do a down strum using my index finger on my playing hand, just going across all 4 strings on this full D chord now, with my middle finger coming onto the 2nd fret of the 1st string. So I leave my ring and index where they were and do a down strum. That is actually kind of hard. You wouldn't think a down strum would be hard, but because of how fast this tune is really played, you kind of have to pluck that open on the 1st string and then get ready and do the down immediately. So I like to kind of pluck with the index here, and as I do that, I bring my hand up to get ready to do that down strum. And remember, the down strum does add that middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. So that sounds like this in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then going into the 6th measure here, we're going to start off the same way with the. But then to finish the measure, instead of just holding this D chord, we're going to come up on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. So leave these 3 fingers where they are. So you still have your 0, 2, 3, 2. And then add the 3rd fret on the 1st string with the pinky finger. Do that on an up strum now with your index finger. And then go back down, taking the pinky off. And then this is quite spicy. We're going to then do a pull off to the open E string. So this middle finger here needs to do a pull off to get that sound. So it goes. And when you do the pull off, just make sure that you're giving good tension and you're plucking the finger on the string. Same way that you sort of pluck with your playing hand down here. With the fretting hand, you're just getting a good connection, good perpendicular angle, and then maintain pressure and try to actually pluck the string as you go through. But that makes measure 6 sound something like this when it's played in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And the pair of measures, 5 and 6, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then as we go on now to measures 7 and 8, they look familiar because, well, they're exactly the same as what we played on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The same little riff. Exactly the same, no difference whatsoever. And in time, measures 7 and 8 should again sound like 1 and 2, 3 and 4 should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going on to measures 8 and 9, or excuse me, 9 and 10, we've got these really fun chords that are going to be played. This sort of C6 over 9. All that we're going to do here is play 0, 2, 3, and 0, right? So it's the same thing that we played earlier on measure 5, but the bass is really giving some cool perspective for how this should sound. So we allow the bass to play on the 1, and then we're going to play open on the 4th string, and we're going to use our thumb for that. Then 2 on the 3rd string with our thumb, 3 on the 2nd string, and open on the 1st string. So the same 0, 2, 3, 0 that we played to start measure 5. In time, this is going to sound something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going into the 10th measure now, we're going to switch our chord. All that we do here is take the index finger off, leave the ring finger where it is, and add the middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. This makes this nice sort of G major 7 sound. And in time, it's going to sound something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. And the two measures together should sound something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. Really pretty chords, right? From here we go on to measures 11 and 12, and a measure 11 starts off the same as the riff that we usually play. That same first part of the riff, same thing we did on measures 1, 3, and 7, exactly the same. And that's going to sound like this in time: 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now as it goes on to measure 12, we do not play the same riff that we did earlier. We start off similarly, but it adds some extra texture as it goes to the end of the song now. We're going to do a little bit of a retard here, which means we're going to slow down as we're playing it. We're going to start by playing the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, 4th fret on the 3rd string with the ring finger, same way we were doing the riff before. Play that, slide it up to fret 6, and then we're going to play fret 5 with our middle finger here on the 2nd string. So that's all the same, but now it changes a bit. Because after I've played this note here on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, I'm going to slide that up to the 7th fret on the 2nd string. Again, increasing the pressure a little bit to create that good tonality. And then I need to stretch my index finger down a bit to play the 5th fret of the 1st string. Then I'm going to play the 7th fret on the 1st string with my ring finger here. So this adds a little bit to the riff, and we slow down a little bit as we play it, and it ends up sounding something like this in time: 2 and 3 and 4 and. And the two measures together, 11 and 12, should sound something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. That nice little slowdown. And then to finish the whole thing on measure 13, well, we just play the 5th fret here on the 1st string with your index finger and let it ring. And that creates this really nice resolved sound that works really well coming off the retard and the really nice riff previously on measure 12. So measure 13 just being that 5 on the 1st string. Let's give some context to it. Let's hear what 11, 12, and 13 for the full ending should sound like. Should be something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. And there we have it.
All right, guys, so this mini lesson was a lot of fun. We got practice playing in an ensemble setting, in this case a duet with the bass, and also a little bit of practice with syncopation. So I do want to give you a friendly reminder before we wrap up that if you did want to get the tabs to print off and keep for your records, that was available at this link. Or you can go to the site, rockclass101.com, do a search for ML30, that was the lesson number for this lesson. Don't forget too, on that page was the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer, so you can literally hit play, watch that tab, scroll across in real time, highlight bars, loop sections, slow it down, all that fun jazz. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed learning this tune, and we'll catch you in the next lesson. Take care.